Hello, everyone. Welcome into another episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Tony Sapita, and I am joined by my co-host Nick Barr. How you doing today, Nick?
I am doing good, Tony. Ready to finally make some season predictions. Like I said to you before we started recording, we're going to try to be realistic, but we can't help but express some of our hopes and dreams for the season as well. So we'll try to stay on track, but we might get a little loose. You never know.
Absolutely. They went 4-0 in the preseason. How could we not be super just way too excited? We have nothing else to look forward to as Chicago sports fans. So
That's all we got. That's all we got.
Except for the Sky. Shout out the Sky. Got to give
them
their props.
Shout out the Sky, man. Shout out the Sky. Candace Parker. What an awesome story. Kind of like literally, and I'll be honest, I don't know too much, about their season, their trials and tribulations, if you will, but I know that they were not supposed to win that. So the fact that they did, brought it home to Chicago, maybe add a little fuel to the boys in red. It's a beautiful thing. Shout out to the Sky.
Yep, couldn't agree more. So before we kind of get into all the everything Bulls, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Stupid Car Tray.
Absolutely, Tony. So if you want to enjoy Bulls games finally at home or on the road even more, head to stupidcartrade.com and use code J16. That's JAY16 at checkout, and you will get 16% off. The link will be in the description. Now, Tony, let's talk some Bulls, baby. Now, I do want to, before you talk, I'm sorry, but I do want to, so I have this glow, this tan, this kind of glow to my face here. And that's because Tony and I, we had ourselves a little day at good old Soldier Field yesterday for the Packers-Bears game. And I know no one's really been asking, but my friends have been for 20 plus years now. Why am I a Packers fan? So big reveal. I'm a Packers fan, Chicago kid, Bulls guy, obviously, but I do ride with the Packers and I despise the Bears. Now, the reason this is, and everyone, if you have any inquiries, Jesus, you can take those up with my father. I was born this way, like Lady Gaga once said. I was raised like this. He moved around a lot as a kid. Didn't really have like a home team. He just happened to be, once he was in his main sports phase, and he had a conscious working brain, and he was from like high school till college, he was in Milwaukee. Packers were obviously the team. Now, I know that leaves up for question, why aren't you a Bucks fan? I don't know. He just didn't really care back then. He started caring about basketball in his 20s. He was a football guy, and he lived in Chicago after college. That's why I'm a Bulls Cubs fan. So that's what it is. And don't give me shit about the Cubs thing, because I'm not the biggest baseball guy around. Again, I was born this way, okay? But I do want to express that it is odd, okay? It is odd, but I just want to clear the air there. And yes, the Packers smacked them, and Aaron Rodgers still owns you guys. Anyways, Bulls, Tony.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I guess we could just, we'll just plow ahead from that. Yeah, it was unfortunate. I'm sitting there surrounded by Bears fans, and we're all excited at the start, and Nick's just sitting there quietly, everything all good. And then finally at the end of the game, this dad had 3 kids, they were well-behaved kids all game and everything, but he was obviously excited with us too. Kind of turns around to Nick, he's like, why didn't you chirp us at all? Like, you could have been chirping with the rest of the fans and everything. And basically Nick he basically just said, like, I mean, what was there to say? Like, I knew we were gonna win.
I didn't need to. The beginning was a little scary,
soul
but
crushing.
And here's another. This is, and I'll admit, this isn't going to sound the best to you, okay? But this is legitimately what went on in my head. Now, I'm at the game. You brought me. I do love Chicago. I do love the people. I don't love the Bears. Okay, that's very, very clear. Very clear. I loved being at Soldier Field. I really did. Now, with that being said, while the first quarter was going on, the momentum was very heavily in the Bears' favor. Now, knowing Aaron Rodgers, being a Packers fan all my life, I knew what was going to happen at the end of the game when the final whistle blew. So I actually enjoyed the fact that there was a little bit of parity at the beginning. I was happy for you guys. Okay, that made it better, because it did. It made the overall experience better for both sides. So that is the news. I am a Packers fan. That'll probably be the last time we address it, maybe. But just so we know that that's just the way it is. Okay. But let's get back to our boys, the Bulls.
Yep,
That is
absolutely.
that is my team. Yeah, go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, so if you stuck with us through all that, thank you for doing that, because now we're gonna reward you. Boy, I'm still a little hungover for that game too, so bear with us as well. That was
words are hard today. Words are hard today.
Long day in the sun, obviously, just a lot going on. So let's get into kind of just everything that's been going on leading up to this awesome, finally opening day of potentially the greatest team in NBA history. Some are saying it, some are saying it. So quick, we can kind of go over the final roster, at least for opening day. Who knows how things will change? I know, obviously, the G League has become a lot more of a thing over the past few years, where it's actually being used like it was supposed to be used, where it's kind of a minor league system for some of these guys when you don't have space on your roster. But Nick, if you want to kind of just go over what the final guys were that made the cut. I think DeMar DeRozan made it, and you can kind of go into everyone else, but I had to get that sick joke off. Yeah,
he did. I love it. He did. And Lonzo Ball, I don't know if you've heard of him. He made it. Zach LaVine made it again. I know we were that contract year. We didn't know. No, but then we had Tony Bradley, Troy Brown Jr. I just want to go over the final list here, guys. Caruso, love him. Caruso, Tyler Cook. And he, I believe, is one of the, okay, if I get this wrong, please correct me in the comments, but I believe he is one of our two-way players who signed a G League contract. You're allotted a few per roster, and he got one of them. DeMar, obviously, Ayo, Sumo made it. Devin Dotson, I think, and he was awesome in Summer League, and we remember that. He ended up making the team, two-way player, though, again, so G League. Is kind of his outlook, so hopefully he balls out there. Javonte Green, obviously he surprised us in the preseason. We had Alize Johnson, hopefully bringing some size when Vooch is on the bench. We got Derek Jones Jr., Marko Simonovic, Matt Thomas, Vooch, of course, Kobe White, and Patrick the Paw Williams. He made it again, folks. Tony, what are your thoughts on the final roster here? Well, for now.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously not a lot of surprises up top. It wasn't, any sort of crazy competition for, I guess, necessarily starting roles, except for kind of that Javonte Green spot where obviously he's not going to start over Patrick Williams. But with him being out, you kind of just saw that, that could be a very valuable sixth man. Something I think we said it, pre-show, Marcus Simonovic, great name, by the way. I know he played against the Pelicans. He played 5 minutes, took one shot, had a rebound and a foul. I just haven't really heard anything about it. I just don't, I don't know what's going on. I know he was hurt, like I said, played against the Pelicans, but then he was a coach's decision, do not play DNP for the other game. So it wasn't like he was hurt. So, and that would definitely be the time that you would use to kind of get him. I don't know. Maybe he's been overseas. I guess I have no clue. Just, working with wherever he was, the Greek League or something. So, Nick, I don't know if you have any comments on that or if anything else.
No, not really. But I mean, it's funny, even in looking at, the real media boys, the real journalists on the ground floor, I'm not even hearing much from them. Usually they get all in the deep cuts of the roster, and I'm not even hearing much from them on Marco. We don't even have anything to really overreact over about his performance. But speaking of overreactions, Tony, of course, that's what we're here to do after a 4-0 preseason. Duh. I mean, what else how else would we react? So, and again, we're not the biggest fans of making predictions. It can be kind of annoying, but you got to do it. And deep down, we have these hopes in our hearts about what's going to go on this season. We can't ignore that. Now, I think I'm going to say this. I think the Bulls finished top 5 in the East. And by top 5, meaning 5. Maybe 6. I kind of wanted that little clip just for the effect. So then I said ... maybe 6. Now, Nets, obviously, I think they're going to still get one. Maybe the Bucks. That's kind of interchangeable in my mind. Kyrie, what's going to go on there? The East is getting a lot better, as it has been over the years. But now we have these other stipulations with Kyrie and COVID. We got Ben Simmons in the 76ers situation. So I'm going to say the Bulls are going to finish higher than the Sixers And my boldest take, I think, of the day is that I think they're going to finish ahead of the Hawks. I know the Hawks have some good steam coming into this season, but they just don't blow me away. And I think if everything does click for the Bulls, I think we're a better team. We're going to be better than the Knicks. I'm not going to go into that. You guys can argue in the comments about, how I'm miscategorizing the Knicks, but I hate the Knicks. There's no way we're going to finish behind them. That is one thing I know. Now the Heat, that's a tough one for me. Because if Tyler Hero's playing the way he is now, he could maybe even be the leading scorer of that team. Now, do I think that's going to happen? I don't know. But if that's the case, that's going to be a really tough team for the Bulls to beat. Obviously, the Celtics are pretty solid too. Jason Tatum's, I think he's like going to have an awesome season. I think he's in his prime. But listen, I think we can do it, Tony. I definitely think if we don't make the playoffs, that this season is a disappointment. Now, a lot of people are saying, but the second year is when they're gonna be awesome. I don't know. We have enough veterans. We have enough skill. Clearly, Zach LaVine kind of found his niche where we were worried maybe he would underperform a little bit just because he had such such highs last season for his career that it'd be tough to beat. So that's going to be the thing for me. But it looked like he's still getting in his bag in preseason. He was able to still score, be a leading scorer. So I don't think that is any longer in question. So clearly we're going to score the ball. That's going to really suck and bite me in the face if we can't. But I think if LaVine can replicate his performance, if we can all glue together, of course, I don't see why we can't finish top 5 or 6.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with you. I do think, we'll be in that 5 or 6. The Hawks are the biggest, I guess, kind of like, I don't know what to call it, pivot point, whatever you want to call it, where the Bucks they're probably going to finish ahead of us unless something crazy happens where they decide to go full load management or something, knowing they can just turn it on for the playoffs. That's really the only thing I can see. Bucks, Nets, again, assuming that everyone stays healthy, James Harden doesn't get hurt, they don't go full load management.
I think the Sixers are trash, by the way.
I completely agree. I think that it's not going to work with Ben Simmons, like just deciding to come back. And without Ben Simmons, I don't think Joel Embiid is as good as everyone says he is. He's like a top finalist for MVP. I do not think Joel Embiid is going to win MVP. I just think he gets hurt too much.
I don't see it.
He doesn't have the stamina. I think it just is what it is. It's fine. Like, I think, they're a good team. They're not a great team. And I think they've been kind of just putting a Band-Aid on a gaping wound for a while with that, the Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid trying to play the same position and both playing it above average, but definitely not at a superstar level. Obviously, the Heat actually are an interesting one because I'm sure they'll be fine, but I know last year was a very weird year for them. I'm sure they'll bounce back. So the Knicks, that brings me to the Knicks. I say all that just to say I'm excited for the Knicks to hopefully be good enough to have, and the Bulls to be good enough to have a rivalry. That's what I want. I hear all the story. My dad, he had season tickets back of the Bulls, the 90s Bulls era. He hated the Knicks. Hated the Pacers too, but whatever with the Pacers. Hated the Knicks. I love hating New York. It's one of my favorite pastimes. If you're a White Sox fan, we hate the Yankees. It's just fun because they're that big market and they're loud and they're so annoying, but that's what makes sports. So that'll be fun. And then I guess kind of my last comment in general is sorry, my last comment was about the Knicks. It was about we will find out kind of where we stand kind of in relation to them next week. 10 days actually. This will be released maybe the 19th, but 9 days. October 28th, Joakim Noah night in Chicago. Tom Thibodeau and the Knicks come to town. So I think that'll be a good, that kind of kicks off our long schedule, which Nick, I know you were going to eventually talk about. But it's going to be a tough beginning of the season. I think if we can get through, if we can just ride out the storm through November, I think we finish top 5.
I agree, man. And you made a good segue for me. Thank you for that. Into kind of our takeaways for the schedule. That's the last thing I want to talk about here tonight. Basically, a couple things I'm a little disappointed with, Tony, in terms of the nationally televised schedule. So for our boys, we only get one national TNT game this year. So that means one day with Shaq, Chuck, and the boys. It comes on a good day. It's on MLK Day. There'll be a lot of people watching. We're playing the Grizzlies. But I'm just not super happy with the low quantity there. And we have 4 national ESPN games, which is, we'll take it, right? But it'd be nice I think Tony, you made a good point about how we've been getting we're a big market, so we get a lot of nationally televised games, and we've just blown it for so many years, just underperforming. So of course, the one year we have some like powerhouse roster, at least on paper, we don't get a lot. We don't get a lot of TV time with Chuck. So it's unfortunate, but I think the biggest thing I want to take away from the schedule was just kind of this. And again, the growing sentiment of the East is getting better. It's not like the West is the best always anymore. I mean, it kind of whatever. We can get into that later. But so with increasing concerns with the level of competition there, it could come down to the wire, right? Of course, on that final stretch of games, like you mentioned. And I think the biggest takeaway I saw was that the final stretch we have five. So the 5 of the last 6 games are home games, which is awesome. That'll be electric. I think the Madhouse on Madison's going to be pretty hopping this year. So that's good for us. But Tony, in those 5 days, we're playing Miami, Milwaukee, and Boston. And those are all back to back, by the way. So that could be a really interesting thing to look out for if it does come down to the wire, which I think some of these lower seeds will. That's going to be a huge deciding factor. And the fact that we get them for the most part at the Madhouse is pretty awesome. Those could be some pretty exciting games. So that being said, Tony, are there any comments you have on the schedule?
I was just gonna say I actually completely I agree that it's cool that we get to play on MLK Day, because that's kind of been a thing that they've been really trying to make, because most people have it off. I don't have it off because it's I don't work in banking or finance or in the government or anything like that. Yep, shout out to the bank bros. But that it's really cool that they get to showcase, obviously, of course, what the day's about, but also show off just kind of just the talent to. It's kind of like how they do on Thanksgiving with football, how they do on Christmas Day, also with basketball. You just kind of make it a whole day where everyone can kind of celebrate together and enjoy some good basketball. So I think it's cool that we finally get a game, because I don't think we've had a game on that day the past couple of years when they've been kind of doing this. But it is stupid that we don't get more. Like, we were the kings of TNT, if you remember, a couple of years ago. We were terrible, but we were like 7-0 on TNT. It's crazy. So we played every game on TNT. We would have been undefeated. But that's all my comments on this. Nick, do you have any kind of final comments, closing thoughts on this bowl season? Oh, should we do records?
If we could do records.
I can go first if you need a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kind of sprung this on you. So I think the Bulls finish 53, doing math in my head. I'm going to go 52 and 30. That's 82 games, right?
That's 82.
52 and 30. They're playing 82 this year. So because they did not last year, it was 72, I believe. 70. So
yeah.
This year, right. 53 and 20, 5 seed over the Knicks. A game better than the Hawks. Official take.
5 seed. Okay. And then mine will be, all right, let's see if Nick can do math now. Mine will be, I will admit I'm a little high on the Bulls, probably higher than Vegas puts them. Well, for sure. I'm going to go with 55 and 27. Yeah, 55 and 27. Look at that. First try. 55 and 27 because 5 plus, yes.
Yep.
Yes, 82. Okay. Because
like I said, 53
I'm
and 20. I think I said 53 and 20. Clearly that was wrong now that I'm saying it out loud.
So
I meant 52 and 20. So we'll just go with that.
Okay. And I'm going 55. I'm high on the boys. Tony, we're seeing red. I'm pumped for Wednesday. We'll be breaking down that game against the Pistons. Interesting, because we are playing Cade Cunningham. Let's see if he's legit. What do you got to say about math?
52 and 30. We said 20 this time. we switched it. We had the 30 right.
Oh yeah,
we switched it to 20. 53 and 29. That is my take. Just totally different numbers. I was just messing with you guys, seeing if you guys are doing the math at home. Nick, what were you saying about Cade Cunningham? Sorry, then we'll kind of wrap up.
Oh, I just think that's something to look out for. We'll be breaking that game down. Cade, see if he's for real. I mean, obviously, top draft pick. Let's see. Let's get it cracking though, man. Let's get the Madhouse on Madison going again.
I
God damn
completely
it.
agree. And thankfully, yeah, like you said, we'll have a preview episode coming out tomorrow about the Knicks that is for our fantasy basketball draft, if you heard that alarm.
Yep.
So with that, that'll do for another episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Tony Sapita. Thank you again to my co-host, Nick Barr. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Until next time, Bulls fans, keep seeing red.